Oh, hello, and welcome back to Even More News, the first and only news podcast. My name is Katy Stoll.
My name is different. It's Cody Johnston, and I have nothing more to say at this moment.
My heart stopped because I definitely need you to say more than that over the course of the next 35 minutes. Jonathan is indeed also here.
Hi.
Yes. Hey, Jonathan.
Jonathan, what happened over the weekend? What coming together of dialogue?
Oh,
have the sides?
Oh yeah, we figured it out.
Bridged the divide in the name of Charlie Kirk.
Came together. This tragedy brought us all closer together. Nope, didn't happen. In the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk killing, the right has decided that this is either the fault of trans people or college professor indoctrination that has to be stamped out.
Very fast college professor indoctrination.
One semester.
Yeah.
They're
He
efficient.
did one semester at Utah State, and then it was in trade school to become an electrician, I believe.
Yeah.
So
Don't send your kids to college. Is what Carrie it's what Carrie Lake said at the vigil.
And like maybe that's good advice these days. You know, you don't need to go to college. It's not like it was in the 80s and 90s. Maybe get a trade, but not because you're going to be indoctrinated into trans wokeness. I'm not sure exactly.
I might not want to go to college these days on account of school shootings. I think that's a concern.
Yeah. Speaking of school shootings,
Yep.
we start with the other shooting.
I agree.
That we mentioned briefly on Friday, and it's being obviously overshadowed by the other horrific thing that happened that day. But there was another school shooting on Wednesday
at Evergreen High School in Colorado. A 16-year-old boy shot two other students and then himself.
Was this boy a trans student?
No. And this motivation appears to be a little more clean cut. Of course, there's some online dynamics to it, but this one seems like a more open and shut case of white supremacist, white nationalist violence.
White supremacist, nihilist, neo-Nazi kind of, again, that sort of online soup that pops up quite a bit. And, there's a line from, not a line of dialogue, but like a line from, Columbine to these kinds of shootings now. It's not exactly the same, obviously, because the internet wasn't around. And like, again, it's this soup of like right-wing kind of like racist ideologies that are swirling each other. And it's no good. And also our politicians and many of our journalists are still incapable of recognizing it or talking about it appropriately or accurately.
Well, because the president says it's that he probably was just upset about crime, right? Trump went on Fox and Friends and said, well, the radicals on the right, they're just upset about crime. The real problem is the left. And he said variations of the real problem is the left multiple times over the weekend.
Yeah, they're all saying that. It was very, not surprising, but alarming to hear the president just say, well, the radicals on the right agree with me, is what he was saying. That's ostensibly what he said. Also, side note, people sharing the clip being like, he was asked how to unite the country, and he said he didn't care about that. That's not what he said. He said, I'm going to say something that's going to get me in trouble, but I don't care.
Radicals on the right as well. We have radicals on the left. People are watching all of these videos and cheering. Some people are cheering that Charlie was killed. How do we fix this country? How do we come back together?
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime. They don't want to see crime.
Worried about the border.
They're saying, we don't want these people coming in. We don't want you burning our shopping centers. We don't want you shooting our people in the middle of the street. The radicals on the left are the problem. And they're vicious, and they're horrible, and they're politically savvy.
So what he said was so bad, it's stunning that we need to lie about what he said.
I was kind of blown away because I was like, but the thing he said is like awful.
This thing he said is abhorrent, and
actual
the president
thing
should never say.
Which is an interesting dynamic happening right now in general Charlie Kirk conversation. I'm sure we'll get into some of this. The whole idea of, oh, you're taking him out of context. You're taking this out of context. Well, the context really doesn't change anything. Maybe there are some sentences where you're like, see, he seems likable. First off, no. The context doesn't change. Or adding the context doesn't change the message. And this whole idea of like, well, that's not what he was saying. You have to, no, whatever he was saying was bad. What are you doing? What are we doing?
Oh, well, just wait. We don't have to, like, with the Trump thing, it's like if you misrepresent what he's saying and ignore the really bad thing that he actually said, then people are going to be like, oh, there's the mainstream media lying about what Trump said again. And then it's like, well, no, but you should listen to the thing he said that was bad instead of focusing on this one, like, blue whatever account that's misrepresenting it for whatever reason. Maybe they just didn't get it or understand, but it's very frustrating to see.
And a lot of the other Charlie Kirk quotes that were told or taken out of context. You say, oh, what's the context for him saying the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? And then they're like, well, he thought it was a mistake because of XYZ. And so, oh, okay. So there is no out of context. You just agree with that.
Exactly.
You agree with what he's saying.
Much of it is that. Oh, so you agree.
Has there ever been such a prominent figure, someone who died who wasn't like a musician or an actor, but like a speaker, a thought leader, and there's been such an aversion to sharing those thoughts as part of eulogizing him and commemorating him? I can't think of.
I mean, I don't know. I can't think of one. Granted, I haven't lived through other periods of time to speak firsthand to the conversations, but no,
who knows
I don't.
What the posts were like in 1968.
It's bizarre.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. Well, that's a thing. Yeah. I mean, when this kind of horrible thing happens, people are going to say horrible things and they're going to have all their feelings. It's a horrific thing that happened in front of everybody, and there's no time to process it or address it. And I've seen people share like, they only assassinate people who tell the truth, and it's like Charlie Kirk next to like MLK and Malcolm X, and it's like, but they disagreed with each other. Are they both speaking the truth?
Right.
But they're not. They're two different. It's not the same. How could they both be speaking the truth? They disagree with each other. I want to talk about this other shooting a little more real quick, because it's really that whole day is really it's a disgusting day that seems written in a lot of really horrific ways. And he's in the middle of talking about gun violence and all this stuff, and it happens in the middle of that. And on the same day that he's doing this, and you can find quotes of him being like, well, got some gun deaths are a sacrifice we have to make, and so on and so forth. On the same day that happens, there's a school shooting that is, again, this through line of like, Columbine happened, and it was before the internet. And there are videos of what happened inside that school that have been shared since then. And then you see more school shootings happen, and not all of them, but many of them are similarly this sort of like nihilistic, like just messed up soup of troubled teens, and not like all the stuff that we have talked about and we'll talk about. And it happens more and more and more. And then the internet happens, and it happens more and more and more. People do copycat stuff. They realize like, oh, I want to be a famous person, or whatever reason they do it. And it happens more and more and more, and then it becomes normalized. And then 10 years ago, 15 years ago, there's the Onion headline, "Nothing we can do about this," says Nation, or it happens all the time, or whatever the line is. And it gets normalized and normalized. Then it happens. And on the same day, an internet celebrity, like a guy who's like grew up in that environment, and on this like Twitter platform where like it's like all vitriolic and like debate and anger and all this sort of stuff, and it's this platform that he familiarizes himself with everybody, and then this happens on the same day, and it's just this horrifying progression of normalization of these really, really terrible acts of violence that we accept now. And I hope that this isn't the next thing we've normalized this, right? And
you mean
now
you've normalized the school shootings.
we've normalized the school shootings.
And you hope
for
that
whatever
the political
reason.
assassinations are not the next thing.
This thing,
Yeah.
like it's this celebrity and the spectacle and everything. Everything circling it is again so connected to the through line of like how school shootings have become normalized and all those aspects. And it happened, and then instantly everyone was like, I don't want to use the word triggered. Just like everyone can't handle this instantly or like grieve or react appropriately, because the second something happens, you have to throw your opinion out there, and everyone's so upset and angry and again, like grieving and all these sort of things. It's impossible. And it's the first like, oh, so this like Twitter, it happened on Twitter. Like it broke on Twitter, right?
I understand that this superseded, that this is just like a lightning rod event and sucked up everybody's attention, but it's also disgusting that overshadows the other tragedy that happened at the same time. And it's galling to reckon with the fact that nobody seems to care about the school shooting, but they care very much about this one figure. And I understand why they care very much about this one figure, but it is, and to your point about reacting in real time, it's things go so fast. Everybody has to get their opinion out there, have to claim their ground in the landscape of the discourse before everything moves on. And
half of it is misinformation too.
And
it's like you're throwing it out there. Like back in the day, a different era of political assassinations, the thing happened and it was terrible, and you grieve, or some people do celebrate that. Like when MLK was shot, like there were people who were happy about that. Most
when
of
Paul
that
Pelosi
happened.
was attacked, there was people.
But like I'm saying, like
that.
back in the day, most of that happened privately at like a dinner or something, or like you say something and then a day goes by and you like kind of calm down and like you talk about it with people, and then you read the news like, oh, this information, oh, now I have this information, and it's just this gradual thing that like allows people to grieve appropriately, and all these things that we don't have now. It's all crammed into one moment. And it's not good. And that's all I guess I'm saying. The internet sucks.
This ad is brought to you by Vive Healthcare, the makers of Apretude, cabotegravir. You never skip your SPF, and you carry hand sanitizer like an accessory. But what are you doing for HIV prevention? One way to help protect yourself from HIV is Apretude, a prescription medicine used to reduce the risk of getting HIV in adults and adolescents weighing at least 77 pounds. You must be HIV negative to receive Apretude and get tested before each injection. If you think you were exposed to HIV or have flu-like symptoms, tell your doctor right away. More HIV testing may be needed. Apretude does not prevent other sexually transmitted infections. Practice safer sex to reduce your risk. Get Apretude as scheduled. Missing doses increases your HIV risk. Don't take Apretude if allergic to it or taking certain medicines that may interact. Tell your doctor about your medical conditions, liver problems, and mental health. Serious side effects include allergic reactions or rash, liver problems, and depression. If these occur, get medical help right away. The most common side effect is injection site reaction. Bring your A game and talk to your doctor. Learn more at apretude.com or call 1-888-240-0340.
I want to focus a little bit on the attacks on trans people, which of course have been escalating for years now. But some people have focused in on the trans angle to this, I suppose. The governor of Utah and Kash Patel, some bits of information are coming out that the shooter may have had a partner or roommate, definitely a roommate, potentially a partner that may have been in the middle of transitioning. Okay. They are trying to connect this to, well, now it's not just trans people we have to worry about being violent extremists, but trans advocates, as the New York Post said. And I would argue trans advocates to them is anyone who doesn't hate
Sure.
trans people and want to discriminate against trans people. And that's an awful lot of people. Now, do I know for a fact that the shooter wasn't going after Charlie Kirk because of the targeting, like, his partner's, I have no idea.
Identity or whatever, we don't know.
But the idea that now we have to broaden the circle, which is the first they came for the thing, like they're broadening the circle now to try and make the left as a part of this, right? And so that's why, we've all been saying, like, if you don't stand up for trans people, if you don't make this a line in the sand, you're next. And that's, not the only reason to do it, right? Like, you should just do it because it's the right thing. And if you're a Democrat and you're throwing trans people under the bus, that's bad, regardless of what the ramifications would be. But it's pretty disgraceful that it's gotten this far.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, yes, that's the trickling of information that we've had, but we actually don't know anything. And this was the narrative out at the gate. And it's tough. I don't want to be conspiracy theorists. We are waiting for information. We are all going to get more information. It's hard right now to trust the investigation, knowing that there is a predetermined outcome that they wish for. And for all of those reports, there's like, an old friend said that he was a leftist, and then they retracted that. His family says the opposite. The inscriptions could mean a lot of things. There's a valid case to be made that maybe he's involved in an ultra-right wing online radicalization pipeline, the Groypers or whatever. I don't even want to say that.
It
Like
can
the
be
soup
both.
we were talking about. It can be all of it.
Soup. But the way that it's like it at this point, it feels that no matter what information comes out, they still want to spin it that way. And I mean, it's felt that way from the get-go. And I think that is part of what is, I know that is part of what is so fucking terrifying about this moment in time. And you're right, Jonathan. This just speaks to the absolute need for people to stand with the trans community, because it's clearly the scapegoat that they're looking for.
Well, right. It's their narrative. They would love to keep pushing it forward like this and completely villainize people and act. I mean, you've got some of the real far-right influencers out there saying that this is just another piece of evidence in the proof that, like, being trans somehow makes you a violent extremist, which I don't even understand the pathways there. Like, how are they even trying to... I don't understand what the argument is. They're just like, well, these three events, thus, and then if you bring up, like, well, every other shooting is a white cis guy, like...
Because you can take these 3 examples or 4 examples, and I mean, many of them are like, here are 10 trans shooters. Like, there's like 3 of them are that. So they're also spreading misinformation. But I think just the idea is that, like, if you say that you are, under attack, which trans people are in many ways, then that means that you're angry and you're dangerous and you're violent because how vocal they are about being under attack, I think, is the implication. And I don't know exactly, other than they hate trans people and they want to demonize them is what it really comes down to.
Can we talk about the people who are losing their jobs because of their posts? And
You mean the quote unquote Charlie's murderers?
Yes, the Charlie's murderers. So that was a website, and I say was because they've changed it somewhat, but it was a website where they'd compiled was it 20,000 or is that a separate list?
It was 20 to 50,000, I think.
People who had criticized Charlie Kirk or celebrated his death, and it was both.
Well, they were framing it as celebrating. They're framing it as people that have been celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. However, when you actually see the posts, they aren't at all.
Not. I'd like to read actually the very first example because they know that. Like, they know this isn't like, oh, we're defending Charlie. Because also Charlie Kirk was a free speech absolutist, quote unquote. And so even though he had like Professor Watch and they were all about the cancel culture, whatever. Also, I will say being like, oh, this is just like right-wing cancel culture. This isn't cancel culture. This is a bunch of fascist opportunists using this to do a purge of people they don't like, institutions,
Teachers, nurses,
yeah, exactly, a massive fascist purge.
And I know they don't like us using the word fascist, but I'm not sure how else you describe it.
Yeah, we can talk about that too, because that words have definitions and we use them. But I want to read on this website that, again, they changed the name. And also they said like we're a data collection website and like it's all through donate to us through crypto because it costs a lot of money to like run a website. It's a complete scam and a fascist purge of people they don't like.
Why not do both?
Why not do both? But when it was called Charlie's Murderers, and we're like, we're holding people accountable for people celebrating his murder. I'm going to read the first example because this says it all. This tells the game. This says that they don't really believe what they're saying. This first example, the top of the page, the first one, this woman named Rachel. That's all I'll say. Terrified to think of how far-right fans of Kirk, aching for more violence, could very well turn this into an even more radicalizing moment. Will they now believe their fears have been proven right and feel they have a right to retaliate, regardless of who actually was behind the initial shooting?
So just accurately describing
the thing that they're
this
doing.
Moment in time.
Like, that just sounds like good commentary to me.
Yes, it is.
Like, yeah, you nailed it.
She follows it up. This is actually technically the first thing because it's a quote tweet of her tweet. I don't believe violence is ever the answer. It just makes everything worse. That was my point with this post. I don't want to live in a world where this is how we resolve disagreements. This event risks bringing that world closer to reality. I hope Charlie survives. That's the first example of Charlie's Murderers.
Such a good take. That is not violent. That is not celebrating. That is honest. And in the amount of people that genuinely think that's considered celebrating.
Yeah.
Or they don't care if it's not. They don't care.
They don't care. They're full of shit. Some people are genuinely upset about some horrible like things. They're like, oh, I'm glad this. There's some stuff out there that is very hard to read for people. I understand.
Yeah,
that.
I don't want to pretend like there isn't. But
this is an opportunity for them to attack the left and trans and everybody. They're just taking advantage of it in any way they possibly can.
NPR said that as of Friday, they had confirmed 33 people who had lost their jobs or were under investigations over their posts. Most were public school teachers. By the way, like, I'm pretty sure the Supreme Court said decades ago that you can't be fired. Like, if you're a public school teacher, you can't be fired for your speech outside the classroom unless it is, recklessly false. And, maybe some of them were, but judging from that post you just read, Cody, maybe they were more of the latter variety.
And that's not like, some examples are going to be worse. Some examples are going to be even better. Like, where it's like, well, that's nothing.
Well, some of them are literally just quotes, like Charlie Kirk quotes.
Yes.
That I guess they don't want to defend. And a lot of these people who have been fired are people who have, of course, criticized cancel culture in the past. Like, Libs of TikTok is a let's get people fired account.
Yes.
Like, that is that person's job, I guess, is to post the most incendiary things she can find to try to get people in her out groups, like teachers and nurses, fired.
Or get some bomb threats at hospitals and schools as well.
Which is something that has happened.
So many of these people are either against cancel culture or, again, it's not the same thing, but that's what they're free speech people or whatever. Or they're like, we can't have this, like, this society that's like built on violence and this and this and this. There's a guy who's like did a tweet like that, but like a year ago, and this is a since deleted tweet, quote, anyone who murders Kamala Harris would be an American hero.
Who tweeted that?
That's just the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire.
I mean, Charlie Kirk talked about Biden should be executed for his crimes against America.
Yes. Donald Trump, Truth Social, that truck that had the drawing of Biden like tied up in the bed of the truck on it. I want to read this Matt Walsh tweet. Only one. I'm sorry. I'm not going to read all because he's been saying a lot of stuff that I...
Don't be sorry. Yeah, a lot of it is,
very incendiary. Civil War type stuff. Matt Walsh tweets, there is a big difference between the left canceling people and the right canceling people. The left cancels you for saying things that are true. To the extent that the right cancels you, it is for saying things that are abhorrent and sick, a pretty important distinction. I would love to get an example from Matt of the left canceling someone for saying something that was true. What thing that someone said that they were fired for would you like to defend as true?
I would say it is. I mean, the one I think he would probably say, because the one that's like, it's James Damore, right? The guy who wrote the manifesto at Google, who was like, women shouldn't be coders or whatever. Like, Matt Walsh would 100% agree with that guy. He would absolutely defend that. But to your point, almost every other example is like someone using the N-word or like being extremely racist or whatever. And I don't think he would be able to fully defend that kind of thing.
Right. Even Matt Walsh had trouble defending the woman who called the kid the N-word at the park, who made hundreds of thousands of dollars on Give, Send,
his defense was we gotta because otherwise
cancel culture.
Exactly.
All of these other people deserve it though, because they're saying things that are abhorrent and sick from my Matt Walsh's perspective. But I don't think the entire country should operate off of Matt Walsh's perspective, because his perspective, to me, is messed up.
Yeah, he also, in his bio, calls himself a theocratic fascist, but then if you say that he is one, then you're, like, inciting violence or something?
No, because he's
I
being
can say
funny.
it, you can't.
Matt Walsh is funny, and he puts on, like, wigs
funniest
and
guy.
asks people what a woman is.
It's not even ironic, and I think we've made this clear, but like, oh, Charlie just wanted to talk to people. Charlie wanted to find the common ground. What's wrong with Charlie's message? We need to continue Charlie's message. Are you trying to find common ground? Are you trying to talk to people?
No, the time for talk is over.
It's
right?
over. It's over.
Well, also, he was just trying to talk to people. Well, he was... I mean, originally, Turning Point USA was funded by the Koch brothers, and it was like an astroturfed like organization to infiltrate college campuses and do propaganda for the government. He's Trump and RFK's guy. He just does exactly. He just it's a propaganda thing. And again, I'm not. This is so frustrating because I'm not justifying it. Obviously, I'm not justifying what happened, but don't lie. He's just having a good faith conversation. He was a paid propagandist. He was a propagandist for the government, for the president. And JD Vance is hosting his show today.
The vice president should not be on Rumble. The website he co-owns, does JD Vance have an investment in Rumble?
Yes, he does. Maybe not still, but probably still. You can get away with anything these days.
I'm going to take time out of my busy schedule. I was going to meet the president of Finland today, but instead I'm going to host a podcast.
Yeah. Well, there's no votes in the Senate to break, so...
You know who wasn't canceled is Fox News' Brian Kilmeade.
Oh, good.
That's a not canceled guy. We've all seen the clip, so we'll play it here, but we can just talk about it. I got a lot of, and I know this is just posts and like whatever, but a lot of people were telling me that I was taking this clip out of context. They're saying he clearly...
This is the new favorite accusation.
Yeah.
The out of context
They're
thing.
like, Brian Kilmeade clearly was talking about the Irina Zarutska murder, zoned out of the conversation, didn't hear what his co-host said, and then just said we should give the murderer a lethal injection. Just kill him.
Billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
Yeah, Brian, why did it have to get to this point?
Right. I would say this. We're not voting for the right people. In North Carolina, wake up.
Also, if you were just talking about one person and you wanted them to get the death penalty, would you call it an involuntary lethal injection? No. It's like... And I don't doubt that the people who were saying this to me believed it. It just comes off as bad faith because it's so dumb. But like, he clearly was listening to the conversation. He was engaged and felt completely comfortable saying, I think we should just kill them.
Just kill them.
About homeless people. Maybe he was separating it to mentally ill homeless people, but
not better.
yeah.
And like, what is that? That's no distinction because they'll just say anybody that's homeless is mentally ill.
If he's being taken out of context, he would have explained himself when he apologized, which he did kind of.
Yeah.
He said he shouldn't have said it. It was crass.
In the morning, we were discussing the murder of Irina Zaruska in Charlotte, North Carolina, and how to stop these kinds of attacks by homeless, mentally ill assailants, including institutionalizing or jailing such people so they cannot attack again. Now, during that discussion, I wrongly said they should get lethal injections. I apologize for that extremely callous remark. I'm obviously aware that not all mentally ill homeless people act as the perpetrator did in North Carolina.
Again, it's it's what we talk about, what we've talked about today and all the days, this imbalance of like, so you can't say, Charlie, I hope Charlie survives and I hope this doesn't get more violent. But you can say we should just kill the homeless people.
He also said that.
That's okay.
He said it a few hours before Charlie Kirk got murdered. And it just didn't take off on the internet until Saturday. So he almost got through it.
He almost got away with it.
And this is the first Fox News apology I can remember in a long, long time. Like, this blew up enough to where they're like, you gotta say you're sorry for
at least
saying
there's
we
that.
should kill the homeless people.
Amidst all this,
I was surprised.
I'm surprised they circled
Honestly.
back on it. So kudos for him kind of apologizing.
Hats off to
but
Fox News.
Also, it's this kind of thing where it's like, okay, that was a callous thing to say. Go further. Think more about it. Why did you say that? Why do you think it's wrong to say? Do you like? Are you going to like assess like how fucked up it is that you said
Because he
that
believes
and maybe like extrapolate, maybe like I know obviously it's just like whenever something like that happens, I'm always like, okay, so so you're saying that's fucked up. Go farther. What else maybe is circling around this ideology of killing homeless people might be fucked up in your brain? Think a little farther.
Yeah, no,
Brian.
It's because it wasn't a mistake. That's what he thinks. Those are his thoughts. And I think he was surprised that it had a backlash, that maybe it would just get through. And again, sure, good job, Fox News, for whatever, forcing him to apologize.
Yeah.
All right, we have time for one more quick little tidbit. Ben Shapiro? Yes.
Yeah, I want to talk about this kind of like two like moments, these clips. People have been sharing this one clip has been going around because Shapiro's on Bill Maher, who we love now.
We love Bill.
And Ben was talking about all these shootings, and when it's this kind of target, it's usually this person. When it's this, and we know that this shooter was a leftist. And Bill Maher was like, well, no, we don't actually. And he basically pushed back on this idea. And there are two elements of this that I think have not been discussed.
If there's a shooting at a synagogue, it is very likely to be either a white supremacist or a radical Muslim. If it is a shooting of a Republican politician, it is very likely to be a trans Antifa Marxist shooter.
That is just not
that
true. We don't know what this kid is.
We do know this kid was of the left. We do know that.
We do know what?
That this kid was of the political left. That is according to contemporaneous reporting from The Guardian as well as Tablet Magazine today.
It's 2 days out. We don't know shit, Ben.
But
we don't know shit. They never do. The internet is undefeated in getting it wrong to begin with.
It's not about the internet. That's about the actual reporting by mainstream accepted. The Guardian is not a right-wing.
Here's what we heard. Here's what I was told so far, and I'll tell you what was wrong. First, I heard he's a registered Republican. Not true. Okay. Then he was a donor to Trump. Not true. His father works in the sheriff's office. Not true. There was a picture of him wearing a pro-Trump shirt. Not true. Member of the Democratic Socialists of America. Not true. We don't know what he is.
Well,
how are you so sure he's of the left? Now, I agree when you write on a bullet, what did he write on the bullet?
Catch this fascist, which is also a gamer thing.
Okay, but now I'm hearing he may have been part of that group for whom Charlie Kirk was not right-wing enough.
You mean the Groypers, yes. I mean, so that would...
You're sure he's not that?
I'm not sure that he's not that.
A minute ago you were sure what he was.
Hold on, Bill. Hold on. Okay, because I've been...
You were.
Good job, Bill.
It was that that harsh, Bill.
It is.
Yeah.
I do you have to ever hand it to Bill Maher?
I think we can hand it to him sometimes.
You can hand it to him on that one.
But then we take it back.
Wow.
We hand it to him and then we take it back from him. So this is part of what I want to talk about. And obviously, like, you know, good job just being like, but you just said that you were sure. Now you're saying you're not sure because of all these things I said. The beginning of it, Penn is talking about when it's, the exact quote, when it's a synagogue, it's usually someone on the right. When it's like a Republican, it's usually like a radical leftist or whatever. Obviously, there's data of the big imbalance of like right-wing violence and left-wing violence. We've talked about it. People talk about it. People lie about it all the time. Look it up or don't, whatever.
Look at one of the 10,000 charts. They're all out there. They don't
exactly.
care.
They're all out there. Nobody cares, but that's the data. What he doesn't mention, and I just think it's so, again, it's very disingenuous and frustrating when he's like, well, when it's a synagogue, it's this person, when it's this person. He doesn't mention when it's a mosque, because when it's a mosque, for example, in 2018, there was a shooting at a mosque in Quebec. They were just a huge fan of Ben Shapiro and his videos. And he checked his like Twitter account like 92 times a day or something. And when that happened, he was like, I have nothing to do. I'm not going to be held. I'm not responsible for that kind of thing. And I'm not even saying it's his fault or it's this or this, but there's something, when something like that happens, you should think like, oh my God, should I adjust how I speak, or like, right, should I do something about this? And he like virulently did not do that. He like stubbornly said like, this, nothing to do with it. I'm not going to address it.
Especially since essentially, sorry, Cody, I have to interject and say the argument that you're making is, oh, well, it's, you know, radicalized by leftists online, and leftists really need to, or liberals really need to figure out their rhetoric. This is their problem, blah, blah, blah. But you're not going to take personal responsibility, or even, not saying that you have to take personal responsibility, but even have that sort of self-reflection for yourself.
Not even for a moment. Maybe privately, maybe.
Well, right, because you're not saying that, because obviously Ben Shapiro has never told anyone to go shoot at a mosque. I can only imagine how Hassan would react if this kid watched a bunch of Hassan Twitch streams. Like, he would be horrified. You would see it. Like, you can. We
would.
And I know that's not evidence of anything because it hasn't happened, but like,
there was a shooting in like Dayton years ago, and the guy had like retweeted one of our Some More News videos. It was about how you should vote. Funnily
nothing
enough,
to do with guns
nothing
or
to do with
anything.
Political violence or anything like that. It was about how you should vote, and it turned out to be like a domestic thing. But like, that fucked me up for a while. It's really messed up to see.
Stopped this show. I'm going to say this. Cody, thank you for sharing that. I wasn't going to share that anecdote, but Cody went through a real personal crisis, and we talked extensively about this for a long time, and he was in a dark place over it. Even though there was nothing.
Nothing.
Our rhetoric, what we talk about, is completely at odds with what this person did. But hell yeah, there was a lot of serious self-reflection.
Yeah, and not even like we're gonna not do this anymore, but like, should we do it differently? Are we gonna like, should we talk differently?
Right.
Should we like? There was.
But I mean, you were deeply
affected
affected by it. Is my point? Is that you felt
fucked me up.
Really fucked up.
It's horrifying to see something like that done, even like tangent. Like, it's, yes, I'll just say yes. And we're still doing it, obviously, and like, it's, you know, it's, but like, to your point, like, yeah, if it was explicitly like, oh yeah, they watch all of Hassan's videos and like this, that would fuck him up, because it should. And the fact that it didn't.
Maybe Ben went through that and just knew he had to kind of keep it and bury it to himself. Like, we don't know that. It's just like, that's why, you know, there's thousands of comments on our videos and tweets and all this stuff. And, you know, a lot of people go harder, I would say, than we do at Charlie Kirk after he was killed. But it's, you know, words have resonance. No one's saying that criticizing someone leads to violence, but no one's saying that people don't get ideas in their head based on the words they hear, whether those words are incendiary or not, right? I think we can stand tall in the argument that the right's language is more incendiary than the left's. Like,
I agree.
Flat out, I would stand behind that. I'll pull a quote for quote with Matt Walsh, right?
100%.
Yeah, that is a hill I would die on. 100%. Sure.
There's another few seconds of a clip from that same episode that I do want to show as well.
These videos of Charlie being assassinated have tens of millions of views online. Think about what that does to the body politic. Think about what it does to the individual, but then think about what it does to the body politic.
And the social media system is so perverse. I mean, these are snuff films of my friend getting shot to death. And those snuff films, there are people who get some sort of sick thrill from that, and those are the next assassins. And a permission structure that allows that, whether that's a social media or a political infrastructure that refuses to call out the movements that, again, say that other political arguments make you an enemy, a threat to my life that requires me to take action, any movement that does that is doing something deeply wrong.
Okay, so he's talking about how framing, movements or political ideologies as like existential threats or dangerous is bad. But that's all he does. That's just what they all do. They call leftist ideology like evil, satanic, liberalism is a mental illness, all these things. That is their entire project, is framing it like that. The mosque shooting, there's a video that Ben did about how there's a myth of the moderate Muslim, and they're all radical, and it's an existential threat that we all need to be worried about. That's just what he said. And again, maybe he's come around to not doing that or talking like that, but he never addressed it at all. And now he's just sort of flipping it around and being like, oh, the left always talks about how like, oh, this is an existential threat. It's like, but you do it all the time. Matt Walsh does it all the time. Your entire website is built on how the dangerous commie trans people are like coming for you. It's just very frustrating to see that kind of thing happen when he knows, probably, maybe he forgot about it all, which I would understand. Who would want to remember that? But I don't know. I just...
You're right, Cody. Of course you're right. Either you're forgetting or purposely omitting your own self. I guess that's what really bothers me. There's lots that bother me, but just the total lack of accountability and insistence on finger wagging instead of self-reflection. And to be fair, I think that everybody should self-reflect about how we comport ourselves in the public space. And yes, our words, again, not saying that doesn't mean you can't define things properly. When something is fascism, you get to call it fascism.
I agree with you completely.
I agree with you completely. Jonathan, do you agree with us completely?
98%.
Ooh,
good enough.
No, I 100%.
I'm putting you on a list.
100%. Are you kidding?
We're going to end this show here. This was a big soup of talking discussion, but I'm grateful to start my week off with you guys and all of you at home. And we'll be back very soon.
We'll be back very soon
with even more of this. And please remember that we love you very much.